Welcome back, everybody, to another I Didn't Escape, They Let Me Out episode of Lockdown 23 in 1. That's right, I don't know if you've been following the escaped inmates in Louisiana, but they've all been pretty much captured except for one individual, and he's been uploading videos to social media, pleading for the people's help, saying, look, I didn't do what they said I did. I need justice. And the clip's not too long, about 9 minutes, but if you were to ask me, it's pretty legendary. Never seen anything like this before in my life. Usually when people escape, they go under the radar. No social media activity whatsoever. You can be traced, right? So it's pretty wild to see this individual taking the opposite approach. But there ain't no winning for him in this situation. I'll break it down when we get there. But first, as always, if you're new to the channel and enjoy all things lockup and crime related, then this is where you want to be. Hit that like, subscribe, notification bell before you leave. And check out my beautifully assorted playlist with many more videos for you to start watching today. Alright, first off, man, this guy's outfit's cleaner than mine. Are those ski boots? Look just like the ones from Dumb and Dumber when they found the $1 million. And is that a clean set of diamonds around his neck? Man. I'll tell you what though, whoever's letting them use their house is living life on the wire. I ain't letting no escape fugitive record nothing in my crib, man. Nowhere near it. Anyways, unfortunately, I gotta read something to y'all before I press play because he's gonna break down some things and I don't want y'all to be lost. But this is the criminal history of Mr. Massey. He has a long criminal history that dates back to at least 2009 and includes a violent felony convictions of armed robbery, aggravated flight from an officer, and felon in possession of a firearm. He was also sentenced on charges of theft, simple criminal damage to property, and twice on tampering with electronic monitoring equipment. Or in other words, a little house arrest bracelet. But Massey now awaits trial in New Orleans for domestic abuse and theft of a motor vehicle. And he's wanted for a rape and kidnapping out of St. Tammany Parish. Hopefully I pronounced that right, but that's what this whole video is going to be about, him claiming his innocence. But it continues saying that Massey's latest arrest came after what police described as a harrowing fight in November 2024 with a girlfriend that left her with a bruised and bloodied face, raspy voice, eyes swollen shut, and troubled swallowing. Now picture this, the same woman that said all that stuff about Massey, rape, kidnapping, strangulation, that same woman has since been arrested and accused of helping Massey after the jailbreak. Unbelievable, right? That ain't gonna do nothing but help him in his situation. But at the same time, it's a lose-lose, like I said in the intro. It doesn't matter if you're innocent or not, it has to go through the court process. And yeah, a correctional officer could have opened the door and said, go right ahead. Or he could have cut a hole in the wall behind a toilet. It doesn't matter, you're still going to Smokeville. You're an escapee. There's individuals that get released on accident and they knew damn well they weren't supposed to get released. Guess what? They got an escape charge. It wasn't even their fault, they just rode the wave away it came to them. So he's definitely going to be getting an escape charge with more time guaranteed, period. Even if all the other crimes are dropped. And that's why, a lot of topics in jail or prison, people with like a year or two that they got sentenced to, they say, hey man, if there was a hole in the wall right now, would you escape? 99% of them with 3 years or less are going to say hell no, because they know they're going to get a mandatory 5 clip when they get caught. Not to mention the highest security level throughout the rest of your bid in prison and jail. No kind of extracurricular activities with an escape on your record. But those guys sentenced to 10, 20 life, yeah, they're going to be leaping through that hole, doing cartwheels on the way out. But this is crazy that the victim that said all this stuff about Massey is the same individual that helped him escape. It says here in 2024, the woman told police that the couple started arguing at their house when Massey went through her purse and found paperwork from a protection order violation report that she previously filed against him. When Massey confronted her, he beat, strangled, and forced her into the car, driving her against her will down dark roads in New Orleans East, according to court documents. When they spotted a police car near McDonald's, the woman told investigators she jumped out the car and tried to flag the officer down, but Massey caught her and dragged her back to the car where he strangled her until she lost consciousness. Later that same night, Massey brought the woman to her sister's house where, after becoming enraged that she was being too loud, he ripped the braids from her head, leaving blood all over the walls. She eventually escaped hours later and flagged down a passing car. Her own car was recovered and abandoned in the 7000 block of Martin Road. Days later, Massey was found in Texas with a Mercedes that was stolen from a party in New Orleans East, court documents say. So yeah, the courts have all of this evidence against him. Of course he's going to be locked up. It doesn't matter if the victim came the next day and said it was all a lie. If there's bruising and blood being seen, I'm sure pictures were taken by the police. I mean, I don't know how that state rolls, Louisiana, but in Virginia, the state's gonna pick it up, man. It's Smokeville. Victim working with the prosecutor or not, it don't matter. Some states, man, they can do that. But now with you knowing everything about the situation, let's press play and hear what he has to say.
What I want to talk about today is as far as why I was in Orleans Parish Jail. I was in custody for almost 8 months. All right, 6 months, something like that. I was in there for theft of a motor vehicle and domestic abuse involving strangulation. That's what I was in Orleans Parish for. Okay, but before I was in Orleans Parish, I was in a jail called St. Tammany Detention Center. All right, St. Tammany Jail here in St. Tammany Parish. There's two different parishes, Orleans and St. Tammany. Okay, today what I want to talk about is that I was on second-degree kidnapping, second-degree rape, domestic abuse, battery involving strangulation, domestic abuse, battery, violation of protective order, right? On this woman right here, her name is Diamond White. That's her name. This is a...
Diamond, you say? Yeah, unfortunately, no disrespect to the diamonds out there. I ain't trusting y'all as far as I could throw ya. So Diamond put him in jail to begin with. Then he got out, violated his protective order, and got slammed by Diamond in jail again. With worse charges this time. Look, fellas, man. You know when to hold him and fold him. Walk or even run away, right? So, if he did go back to Diamond even after the first go-round, he has nobody to blame but himself.
That's her name. This is a district attorney drop form right here. And she's not a child. She's an adult, a full adult. I was dating this woman. This is a legalized affidavit saying all allegations against me is false. You remember, all allegations against me is false. I was nowhere around her or none of that during the timing of the date, which was November the 10th. Of 2024, okay? So I was in St. Tammany, right? And I was on a regular domestic charge, right? So they put a parole hold on me because I was on a domestic charge. So
I can't help but to mention, this is typically what you're going to see in prison. With certain people and paperwork checks and they're trying to explain the situation. It doesn't matter, man. Whatever's on the black and white is what's going to be stamped to your face with fists more times than none. Especially in prison if you've already been convicted, all that, man. There's no explaining. I will leave room for a couple anomalies if you're a popular individual, you know, but very rare in some states do people survive in the cell block with this kind of paperwork.
That being said is that once that occurred, and the charges was refused or whatever, they shipped me to Orleans Parish where I had more charges. It was the theft of a motor vehicle and the domestic abuse, battery, involving strangulation. So once I got in Orleans Parish jail, all right, I have from the district attorney's office, this woman who they say that I initially raped in another parish and in Orleans Parish is the same woman here. It's not different females. It's the same grown woman, not a child, a grown woman. Okay, she did the same thing in Orleans Parish, right? Correct. I'm about to show you how the system is corrupted. She did this, right? Saying all allegations against me is false. And she even saying it, you know, she let them know the truth, that I never did this to her. I never hit her. I was nowhere around her, nothing. She got mad and thought that I was dealing with another woman. That's why she did what she did to me. You know what I'm saying? Another thing, too, once I got into Orleans Parish, I was there for, like, a month or something like that. Okay, a lot went on as that time progressed. Okay, if you was an innocent person and you know the judges and DA know that this person is saying that all the charges that you're on that you did not do, why was you still in jail?
It's because of what she said, man, and they probably got all the evidence they need. Pictures of the bruising, blood, braids being ripped out. And, you know, the courts see all kinds of angles. And a victim, even though there's protective orders saying that, you know, the defendant can't go near her, it doesn't matter. They usually do, and a lot of times they persuade them, intimidate them to go into the courtroom and say it was all a lie. Right? So that's how you get these type of situations here. And after a bunch of sweet nothings, maybe the girl's starting to rethink everything. Fall back in love with them and start helping them in any way, shape, or form. Even risking her own life and helping them escape jail. But I'm not saying that that's the case. I'm just trying to paint a few different pictures for you.
Louisiana have the highest incarceration rate in the world for putting black people away. Yes, At the end of the day, in my younger life, I'm not gonna lie, I was causing problems. I was young. My daddy got killed when I was 7 years old. My mom had to raise 4 children by herself, so I had to find a way to try to help my mother. You feel what I'm saying? But as time went on, the person that I once was, I'm not that person today. That is not who I am. I have a 3-year-old son. I have an 18-year-old daughter that graduated yesterday, supposed to be. At the end of the day, that people don't understand that they see that I'm armed and dangerous. I have a heart. People that know me know that at the end of the day, I am a good person.
Look, it sounds good, and it seems like he's being compassionate about what he's saying, but the courts don't care about none of that shit. We witness people getting sentenced to prison every day that has children. They change. They have a good heart. It don't matter, though, their heart was in a bad place when they committed the crime. And if you didn't commit the crime, you're going to have to follow the process just like everybody else. That doesn't mean leaving jail through a hole in the wall and trying to prove your innocence through social media. I promise. That is not the route. You're going to get smoked in more time than you could possibly imagine.
So I'm asking for help from the world, from Meek Mills, Lil Wayne, Young Boy, Donald Trump. I'm asking for these people. I couldn't even get a lawyer. I couldn't even afford a lawyer to prove my innocence while I was in Orleans Parish Jail. They said that I broke out. I didn't break out. I was let out. My name is Antoine Massey. The guy who said that I threatened him with a shank, the maintenance guy, how could I threaten you with a shank? You can't come around me. You're a maintenance. You cannot come on the tills without a deputy being behind you. Because if they just let you on the till, you could be persuaded to bring drugs or anything like that nature. So how can I threaten you to jail you? And why you didn't notify the people?
I don't know anything about the maintenance man situation. I haven't done a deep dive into this just yet. But let's backtrack here. He asked for help from a specific group of people. Meek Mill, Lil Wayne, and look, don't quote me on this, but I read that this guy's dad was best friends with Lil Wayne's dad or something along those lines. I don't know. If that's the case, man, it's getting deep. And second of all, who knows if he is popular enough out here in the streets? Judging by the diamonds around his neck and those snow boots, he definitely kinda is. Let's say someone like Kim Kardashian gets a hold of this story and pumps the news to old Donald Trump, man. Anything's possible. He could get partnered with the rest of the bunch. That'd be a twisted turn now, wouldn't it? Man, oh man.
Like, you flat out lied on me. Sterling flat out lied on me. And I want to let the media know that from the straight tattoos in my face and things of that nature, of course they're going to believe Sterling. You know what I'm saying? I never told Sterling nothing. I'm willing to take a lie detector test and everything behind that. But that's another subject. Orleans Parish is one of the corruptedest jails. That in St. Tammany Parish is the corruptedest jails in the state of Louisiana.
I'm definitely trusting the maintenance man before anybody with chess pieces tattooed on their face, man. Because you know those guys ain't about nothing but making moves against you. It ain't to help you. What is that, pawns underneath the eye or rooks? One or the other. Yep, not trustworthy in my book. Sorry, bro. It's okay, though, because a lot of people say the same thing about me. I don't mind it.
Why was I even incarcerated with a woman saying that this never happened? This is this woman's name. This is the charge, domestic abuse violation. This is about the shit in St. Tammany. Why was I in Orleans Parish? Why was I even in jail? That's what I'm trying to show y'all. That's why I left the jail. And they have a lot more brothers that's innocent, just like me, that's trying to prove their innocence. That's why they ran. You see what I'm saying? Behind a woman that's a grown adult that never stated that I ever raped her. They have a detective that's over the case that's trying to pursue charges on me because of my prior history. Who I was in the past is not who I am today. So I'm asking for the media. I don't even have a lawyer to help me. I'm asking for help. That's why I ran. You feel me? I'm a grown man. I have kids. I have a mother. I have a baby mother, a child, my children mother. Like it's a lot going on. And that's why I ran. I need help.
I don't know why you keep saying he's a grown man with kids and he's changed. The judge is going to say this to you. If you were truly changed, then you would have turned yourself in and done things the right way. So I agree with the prosecution. I'm going to sentence you to the max. I can see the smoke in his future already, man, unfortunately. But that's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you enjoyed today's episode. It was kind of unexpected. had something completely different lined up. It's a really good one, so be on the lookout for that. But yeah, when I seen this video, I had to react to it. Dude's stuck between a rock and a hard place. And like I said already, man, if you don't turn yourself in now, chances are it's just going to become more rockier. But man, watching this clip unfortunately makes me feel really good about my situation. I'm about to go swim in some natural springs with the family, while homeboy's on the run fighting for his life. I hate to put in comparison like that, but you know, a lot of riches have nothing to do with money and everything to do with freedom.